Don't fall into this extension trap. Hi, my name is Zachary Jensen. I'm the managing partner here at TaxWise Financial Services, where we're empowering small business owners and high W-2 earners with tax savings so they can reach their financial goals sooner. In today's video, we're going to go over the extension trap. So what is the extension trap? How do people fall into it? How do you keep yourself out of it? We're going to go over all of that today. So each year, millions of Americans actually rush to get their tax filing by April 15th. But what a lot of people don't realize is the deadline is not as rigid as it appears, right? The IRS actually allows individual taxpayers to request an automatic 6-month extension to file tax returns, pushing the deadline from April 15th to October 15th. And if you're a business or S Corp, that's going to be March 15th, and that's going to go all the way to September 15th. So give you an extra 6 months. And the extension is actually granted automatically, so you don't need to explain it. It doesn't increase your risk of audit or anything crazy like that. You simply file a 4868 form before the original due date, and it's perfectly legal. It's a tool that a lot of taxpayers use. We use it a lot for our clients because they might have more complex planning. We'll get into that in a little bit. And it's a built-in feature of the tax code. So very, very normal stuff. Like I mentioned, filing, it's pretty simple. You just file that form 4868. We do all that for free for our clients if they request it. So but there's a caveat. Critically, the extension applies only to the time to file the tax return, not actually to pay the taxes owed. So if you expect to owe taxes, you're still required to estimate and kind of approximate the amount you're going to owe and actually submit that money to the IRS by April 15th to avoid any sort of interest charges. However, arriving at a reasonable estimate is far less demanding than completing a full polished tax return. You can always submit similar to what you submitted last year, even, and it gives you the runway you need to ensure you're filing properly and being thorough and accurate. If you just think of it as kind of like buying time and not really escaping responsibilities. Now, many taxpayers actually conflate because there's two different types of penalties. There's the failure to file and failure to pay. The failure to pay penalty is relatively modest at 0.5% of unpaid taxes per month, capped at 25%. So it's not a huge deal if you send a too low of an amount, for example, because you're only at 0.5% of whatever that amount is per month. But the failure to pay file penalty, on the other hand, that's pretty harsh, right? That's 5% of unpaid taxes per month, capped at 25%, but it accrues, 10 times faster than the failure to pay. So, in other words, not filing the return, even if you cannot pay what you owe, is almost always the wrong move, right? You want to file an extension. It eliminates the failure to file risk, which is the biggest penalty. And as long as you file and complete your return by October 15th, after submitting that 4868, you won't face any failure to file penalties, maybe a tiny bit of failure to pay, but that's like going to be a few bucks. I mean, it's not going to be anything crazy. And investors that have complicated financial situations, like you got K1s, a bunch of real estate, stock options, foreign assets, right, business income, rushing to do all this by April 15th could mean actually you're leaving more money on the table by not strategizing and doing things properly. So if you're not taking that time to identify every deduction and exploring planning strategies that meaningfully reduce your tax liability, and you're just trying to rush it in, the math just is very plain. It's probably not worth it. So a lot of people feel like the April 15th deadline is, you have to meet it, but prudent investors with complicated tax situations, it's usually the wrong target. You want to do an extension, make sure you send some money in and just be more strategic about it because your tax situation is more complicated. Your time is very valuable. Your strategy is very valuable. Let's not try to rush everything in. So we do all this for our clients. If this is something that you want us to do for you, if you don't have a tax accountant right now and you need somebody, send a message to us. Our contact information is in the description below. And thanks so much for watching and have a great day.